Welcome to Mama's Playground. This is Darlene.
And this is Monica. So I was talking to a friend. Well, a friend, she's one of the moms of one of the kids in Noah's class, and she's a therapist. And she is in one of these like huge hospitals. I think she runs like the counseling and all that in like one of these major hospitals here in South Florida. She's got her own practice and all that. Hopefully we can bring her on because I would love for her to come on and actually help
with my sister.
And it just happens to be that through somehow your sister knows her. It's just crazy how the world works. She's super thorough, and the way she talks, she's great. And one day she sends me a thing saying that she is doing like now private sessions or whatever in her own practice, like when she's not in the hospital. And I said, oh, that's interesting. I was thinking of, just because Jacob is getting older, I was like, you know what? Maybe I want to take him into therapy one day just to see, because he's a kid that holds in a lot of emotions. He's not a kid that, wants to just tell you everything like Noah. He holds everything in.
Like a lot of kids.
Like a lot of kids. The bulk of kids, I would say, especially at, 8 years old, 7 years old. I think sometimes they just do not want to, fill you in on what's going on in their day. But anyways, I had said, thanks for sending me the info. Maybe, maybe I do take my son to you just for you, just not for you, just to see if he's good. Like maybe he opens up to you, And I told her, I said to her, when I was younger, I don't know how we got in the conversation. It was actually a voice note. I said, when I was younger, I suffered from anxiety, not when I was a little girl. Or maybe I did, and I didn't realize that was anxiety. But when I got older, and we had a session on that, like a episode on that when we first started podcasting, and I had gone through that when I was 18. And I said, I recognize sometimes I wonder if certain things that he does is part of an anxiety thing, or is it just normal like kid stuff? I don't know. And she sent me a voice note that left me kind of like struck a chord. Because she said, you know what? I'm so happy that you're saying that. She's like, because what ends up happening is I get a lot of parents that are not emotionally aware that their kid is going through something. They're not like, they're not there. They don't even realize that that's even a thing.
Okay.
That these kind of things stay like, como se dice, like it's not up out in the air. So then that kid that's now 5, let's say, or 6 or 7 or whatever, ends up being 20, and they've been living with a little anxiety or whatever their whole life. Nobody really knew how to give it like a definition, because you're like, oh no, that's stupid. Like that's, it's so, random or whatever. You don't give it much importance. And then they end up suffering later in life. And that's
holding their feelings, which is never a good thing.
Which is not a good thing, which is what I told her. I said, with Jacob, Jacob is awesome. Like he wants to talk to me at nighttime when he goes to sleep. And I always tell him, you're doing this on purpose because you need to go to sleep. And now you want to open up, you don't want to open up when I pick you up from Carline, I don't know if that happens. Like I pick up the kids in Carline, and I get them in the car, and I'm like, I look through the rear view mirror, and I'm, how was your day? I don't want to talk about it.
Oh my God.
It's always that.
Yes. And that's, so when I get more than 2 stories from Luna, from like when I pick her up to I get home 20 minutes later, it's a lot. Like that's a good
day. It's a good day. Yeah.
Because they don't actually, I was remembering there was this post on Instagram that was this woman saying, when you ask your kids what did they do at school and they said nothing, and then you see this, and it was like they had brought a cheetah or something. This is obviously not in the USA. And it's like the kid had like seen a cheetah and touched a cheetah, but it's like, how was school? Nothing interesting happened.
Yeah, it's like maybe they're tired. I don't know.
Yeah. So I was actually reading about how you shouldn't, ask the kids when they get into the car, like, how was your day? Like,
don't bombard them.
No, how was your day? And who did you play with? And how was the teacher? And how was homework? So I read that article like early on when Luna had just started, just a couple weeks ago. So now I don't do that. So now it's more like, hey, I miss you. And then like hug them, and that's it. Let them talk.
Yeah.
Do the reverse psychology. Be like, don't ask anything. Because but it's so funny because she would say, I don't want to talk. I'm not ready to talk. And you're telling me that Noah did the same thing.
No, both of them. Noah and Jacob. And I was speaking to other mom friends,
crazy.
And they told me the same thing. Oh, do you know what my son told me today? A friend of mine was saying, you know what my son told me today? He grabbed the sign that said, "Do not enter my room." He's 6, and he put it on the door, and she was like, okay. And he was like, "Yeah, this is my private spot."
Oh
So
my
she's
gosh.
she's like, "Oh my God." And I said, they're evolving. And in the sense of like whatever, anxiety, or if they're feeling sad or so on, a lots of times what I've realized, at least when I was growing up, as adults, we tend to not give too much significance to bad days and all that. At least like from the era that I was growing up in, it was like, oh my God, yeah, eso no es nada. Like that's nothing.
Yeah.
Like that's no big deal.
Let it go. You're gonna have more problems when you're an adult.
When you're
like,
older.
Oh my God, like,
when you're
please,
older.
that's nothing. Well, for them it is.
Which we're parenting now in a very kind of like, I want to say we're kind of like in the middle. We're not like that, because I want to say I do tune into my kids' emotions, especially because I had my own issues when I was 18, 19, and nobody could understand it. That I said, you know what? I sometimes I'm too overbearing. I get it. I would get in the car and I'm like with the kids and I'm like, oh, tell me about your day. Why don't you want to tell me about your day?
Yeah.
But what? And then I said, you know what? No, like I'm gonna stop doing this. When they want to talk, they're gonna talk, and just let it be.
Do you need anything? Like you can switch and be like, hey, how are you? Do you need anything?
Yeah.
I love you. I miss you the whole day. That's it.
Yeah, I think there's ways to like get around it.
Yep.
And the whole point of this conversation was how not to miss something, because a lot of us in our day-to-day, no matter how emotionally aware you are, day-to-day stuff happens. Like you are in your day-to-day stuff of trying to get ready for the next day, especially if you've got kids, like their homework, this, eat, go to sleep, brush your teeth, that you miss out sometimes on actually finding out how their day was. And lots of times, I want to say lots of times, and I think the bulk of the kids tend to be like that. They don't tell you about their day. They don't tell you where's the kid that made them feel bad, or maybe they did something in class that, the teacher reprimanded them for and they took it to heart and they didn't say anything to you. And maybe internally they're thinking about it, and we just keep going. And these are the things that are shaping them. And some kids are going to take it more personal than others. So like, how do we get down to the nitty gritty of like, not being overbearing, but being conscious that these kids are going through things that for them, it does affect them. For us, it might be like, oh my God, that's so dumb. Like, when you're going to grow out of that, how do you, as a parent?
It's kind of giving them that space, and that, because sometimes they don't want to talk to you because they could think that you're going to be upset, that whatever it is, you're going to put the blame on them. Or you're scared because somebody else can get in trouble. Or it's just different reasons. For example, the other day, Luna told me when I was going to put her to bed, like, oh, tomorrow I have a writing quiz. And I was so mad because she had been,
the whole day.
I was working in the computer and she had been in the couch just like, and she came to me and like, I would be like, oh, mamita, let me finish doing what I'm doing. And then Fabian took her to the pool. She came back and she was just chilling, watch a little bit of TV. I was in the computer the whole day. So I go, why are you telling this to me now? She's like, because before you were working. And I'm like, you had so many opportunities to tell me, to tell Fabian. You could have said something. But still, maybe it's not the best example. Maybe she just didn't want to like
interrupt you or bother you.
Or practice the writing. Yeah. But still, that can happen. That many kids can be like, because so many times we're like, I'm busy, don't talk to me, I'm busy. So, but then at the same time, you pick up the phone when your friend calls or things like that. And we need to take that time, even if they're not talking.
Yeah.
Like, even if you're just both in silence, just in the couch or you're eating or something, so they can come and they talk to you. And one thing I did with Luna, when school was starting, I said, if ever anybody treats you bad or treats somebody bad, or come to me, tell me. I'm like, tell me, I'm never going to be upset of you. Like, I'm just so proud of you when you come and you open to me, because I'm also want to get her ready for her teenage years. Like, I want her to be able to confide in me and trust me and tell me things. So sometimes when I would pick her up, so I'm glad that you tell me that the boys do the same thing. And she's like, I don't feel like talking. I'm like, oh my God, is this going to be us? Like
a thing.
Is this going to be 16? Us like in 10 years? Yeah. Exactly. So it was scary, but now I'm working on it, on just like letting her,
express herself when she needs to.
And then also, even if you're busy and you're in the computer, like, they should know that it's okay to come to talk to you.
Yeah.
And then maybe it's something that it's not as important. So, but also you don't want to be like, really? Did you just interrupt me to tell me that? Don't do that. Because then they're gonna be like, okay, what's important to you and what not? Like, what is it worth it? Interrupting my parents or not? But you don't want that. You want them to be able to come and tell you anything. Yeah.
No, and you think about the because obviously we all hear stories, or we have friends that have kids that are older and all that, and then even situations that you see on the news or whatever, and you see these parents saying, I had no clue. Like something that maybe happened with their kid or whatever, and they're like, this is the first time I ever hear about it. Like, I didn't know this was going on for so long, and whatever. There could be many different scenarios, right? Or I didn't know they were feeling like this. And so I want to say, obviously, every parent is different. Some people are more in tune than others emotionally. Some people are checked out because they are in their day-to-day or whatever. I'm not knocking anybody, because everybody has different lives. But it's like, as a parent, being, trying to be present and maybe not be the overbearing mom, you know what I mean, or overbearing dad,
Just
of like,
be
tell
there.
me, but be there and
Be available.
and always kind of like reiterate to them that they can always come to you and talk to you, because like I feel that lots of kids nowadays hold in their feelings, and I don't know if it's a pride thing, like they don't, as especially when they get older. When they're little, I don't think it's so much that, but when they get older, a pride thing of maybe not wanting to feel like I don't know, like they're dumb for feeling a certain way, or
they want to talk more to their friends, or they're like, oh, my mom's not gonna understand, or my
Correct.
mom's gonna say no, or it could be.
And us as adults, as I was mentioning to you prior to this, as adults, sometimes we don't give too much importance to these things because we find it to be so like, oh my God, this is things that we've already been through that. But we have to understand that they're just going through it and they don't know anything else, and they're still dealing with their emotions. So we shouldn't take away the importance that they give to something and say, oh my God, that's so stupid. Get over it. Like,
Exactly.
get over it. It's not to them, it's not like that. To them, they're probably going to sleep going, oh my God, my friend told me that they don't like me anymore. And for us, it's like, oh my God, tomorrow they'll be your friend again. But for them, it's really a big deal. It's like when you have a boyfriend or girlfriend, your first boyfriend or girlfriend that breaks your heart, and the mom or the dad comes and goes, you'll have many other. Don't worry about it. And don't give importance to it. But at the moment,
they don't deserve you. You're gonna meet somebody else.
Which is true. We know that.
Exactly.
We
but
know
they
that,
don't.
but they don't. So then how do you sit there in them and like, not wallow in their thing, but understand and say, you know what, this is their first experience. Of course they feel like this. We know they're going to get over it. We know that the life is going to evolve and they're going to meet other people. But at this point, their heart's broken. At this point, they need to be able to let out their emotions,
And sometimes they let go of all these emotions, not verbally. That's one thing I was, throwing out, and Selma was keeping like her paperwork, her paintings from the prior year, school year. And just the other day, I found some things and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm pretty hands-on as a mom, but I didn't see a couple of paintings that she did. And I'm thinking, what about the parent that has 3 kids? So it's double the bulk of things coming from school. And probably they just throw it in a bin and they're never going to go back to that bin again. But that's also a way of monitoring, your kids' feelings. And so with her, it was so cute because she kept making like these paintings and writing these things like, I love my mom because everything that she does for me, and we do so many things together. And my dad, he teaches me a lot, and he writes me songs because of the song that he wrote, Vestidito de Princesa.
Yeah.
So, and I was telling him, like, you gave her that song. That was what, a year ago?
And that's such a
year and
beautiful
half?
song, yeah.
And it's so stuck in her head. So, and this was her being 4.5, and she still like her whole kindergarten. A lot of the paintings were like the dad and the song
and the princess dress.
So, and it's also, and I'm like, wow, like going over all of this, and it's also a good way as a parent to see, maybe he's not telling me, my kid, how he's feeling, or she, but maybe through a drawing, through one of these 1,000 paintings that they do throughout the year, you can monitor like what's going on. Like if you see a drawing where it's, the kid and the mom, and the dad's not there, or the dad's like far away, that could mean something, or it's just so many different scenarios.
Absolutely. No, yeah. And now that you say it, I was thinking not the other night, but like, this past couple of weeks or whatever. In one of these occasions that, they wanted me to go to sleep with them because they have their own rooms, but they like to sleep together in Jacob's room because Jacob has a bigger bed.
That room is so cool, by
So
the way.
they both sleep there.
I love that room. Yeah.
And sometimes they're like, Mommy, come lay down with
like
me
they're
because
in space, in a big spaceship.
But they're like, Mom, come lay down with me. So I'll lay down with them. And Noah fell asleep first, and Jacob was awake. He was wide awake. And so then he starts talking. So then he was filling me in on his day. And we were bonding. It was the cutest thing because he was finally telling me all the things that happened in class and what happened with his friend and then this other little friend.
And this happened at bedtime.
At bedtime.
So you see, like, if they're not talking to you as soon as you pick them up, it's not that probably they're not ready.
Well, this was
Luna
before.
Says, I'm not ready.
This was when I first started taking him to school. I was like the mom that wanted to know everything. Now, obviously, I know better, and I don't bombard him with all these questions when I pick him up.
I just learned it. I was like, I just learned it this year.
But I did, and we were. I was telling Benjamin, I was like, it was the cutest thing because we were bonding, and I loved it. He was confiding in me with all these secrets between his friends and what the other one says about the other one, and what happened at the cafeteria, and we were cracking up with another little friend story about him being the tattletale and this and that, and we were laughing so hard that tears were coming down my eyes, and it was like a 30-minute conversation, and I walked away from there going, God, how I love that, and it's like you don't get that all the time. There's not going to be days like that. There's going to be days they don't want to talk, but it's so nice when they fill you in and you're present, and again, I get you can't always be there monitoring everything, but it's good to be aware, and like not live so like for tomorrow, like literally live in the moment.
No tengo tiempo. I don't have time.
Correct, because tomorrow we gotta do stuff. Take that time, carve it out.
Or what I was feeling like with her sometimes that we were always going somewhere. Like, we have baseball practice, so we have this, we have that. Hurry up, eat. And at times I had to stop myself and be like, we're not talking, we're just like rushing all the time, rushing to do something, to be somewhere. It's like we need to like slow down and just have conversations. So check this out that I found. Questions to strengthen bonds. These are things that you can, ask your kids.
Like random, yeah.
So you can ask them like, what's one thing you wish grown-ups know about kids? We should do an episode with the kids, and it should be about this.
And let's see, we put him on the spot.
Yeah. Luna was asking me yesterday, you have an episode tomorrow? Like, okay. And she was kind of, when can I be in one? And I said, I had talked to Monica about it, of having you kids have an episode, but that's a good one. What do you wish grown-ups know? Another one is, who is your best friend? We can talk also, you can talk to your kids about like, why, like what qualities, like, because they're kind, or this, or because they say I'm pretty, then that's not a good reason. And that's another thing that I told her, like, I try not to talk about somebody's weight or myself in front of her, like, ay, estoy gorda, nada, because you don't want the kids to be like talking about other kids or judging other kids. So that's one thing. Another one, what's something you love doing with your family? What's the best thing about being a part of our family? And you can ask them, do you know how much I love you? Things like that. So these are like some questions that you can ask them to bond.
I'm going to add to that. So I saw on Instagram a post, since we have like the Mama's Playground, a lot of mom stuff and parenting stuff comes up. And I actually follow us. And she, and not she, I can't say I'm going to give this credit to anybody because I can't remember what page I pulled it from. So I'm sorry. But it was saying kind of like a way to get in, right? Because sometimes there's kids, not every kid is the same. Let's be honest. There's going to be kids that are not going to let you in. And then there's a kid that's a little bit more free flowing or, open. So they said, when you're talking to your kid, it said something like, before you assume they're fine, ask your child these 5 questions tonight. Now, maybe I won't do all 5 at once, but, sparingly.
Could you imagine?
No, it would be too much. But maybe, sparingly you ask. And with smaller kids, like this is a way maybe to get some information. Maybe if you can't ask them directly because they're not going to answer because they think they're going to get in trouble or whatever. It's like one of them was, have you ever been scared to tell me something because you thought I'd be upset?
Oh.
And then, let them answer. The second one was, if you could make one thing disappear from your worries, what would it be? Like, but
Wow,
like
that's deep for a kid.
but this is where I'm telling you, when they start getting 7, 8 years
Yeah.
old, you know what I mean? Like now they're seeing the world, they're holding more feelings in, and maybe you can't get to them directly. Maybe in a nonchalant conversation, you start asking like, oh, so how was your day? Like when you're in bonding time, right? And you ask these questions. The other one was, if your heart could send me a secret message. Obviously, this is a good one. Because with little kids that are not fully, it sounds bad, but like fully aware of what you're trying to do, they may let go of some things that you want to find out.
That
So it's
I
like,
love chocolate and I want ice cream every day. We need to do these questions. Sorry to interrupt you.
But
we need to do it with the kids here.
no, we will. And we'll get all
Yeah,
three
yeah.
of them. And this one says, if your heart could send me a secret message right now, what would it say? And think about it. These are deep questions, but let's say your kid is going through something that maybe really affected them. They're not telling you, and now you're in bonding time with them and you ask them this, and maybe they start to be like, mom, like this happened today in school, or dad, this happened today. And now you're getting in, you're seeing if something's going on. You as a parent will say, red flag, something's going on here.
Timing is important. And I feel like that's, for example, if you were going to ask those questions to Jacob, you have to do it just Jacob.
And it's to Noah, just Noah.
Let's, for example, if we do it, probably Luna would be like, Mom, my heart would tell you that I would love to have ice cream for dinner every single night.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't want fruits and vegetables. And then Noah would probably go around the same. But I feel like Jacob would be more like deep.
More
like,
deep? Well, he's older too.
Because he's older.
He's older.
Yeah, and he'll be. But these questions you have to do them separate.
He's old. No, I listen. If your kid comes back with the thing of like, Mom, I want chocolate ice cream, that's what my heart would say. You say, you know what, my kid's fine. They're not going through any issues right now. But if they come to you with something like, well, the other day at school, now you start going, hey, I didn't know that. So it's a way kind of to get in to see what's going on, because again, the school systems here, there's a lot of kids, there's a lot of things going on, and sometimes
Things
you want to know.
They say to each other too. Like you have to monitor. It's scary. There's a new show on Netflix that now everybody, or it's a movie, the K-pop whatever.
You told me this. What is that?
So I don't know. Like I don't know. I haven't played it for Luna. I don't know. But now like her friends are into it. And you know who I'm talking about. It's something K-pop, and then the music, and it's got to do with demons.
Demons. Demons. If you don't know what that is, look it up.
It's like the Diamond's cousins from Denmark. No, the demons, and they sing to kill the demons or something. So I have some friends that are like, yeah, we're into the music. Then I have some friends that are like, no, don't play that for Luna. But then, for example, if she's at school and they have friends talking about it and she's curious, like, what do we do? Like, no, you're not going to watch that, or you watch it with them, or it's like this continuing like monitoring, because also they don't want to be feeling left out.
Correct.
They don't. So, but I think that the best way to monitor their feelings and having them like tell us how they feel, and if somebody made them feel bad, is giving them the space and asking the right questions.
Yeah, because it depends how you come at it and what you say. They might block off even more.
And timing is perfect, because and it makes sense. We pick them up and we want to know everything, especially that first week of school. It's like, how was your teacher? Who are your kids? Like every day, like, so do you have any new friends?
I can imagine every parent. I'm telling you, not every. I would say the bulk of parents got like, it was good.
Good.
Like, okay.
I don't want to talk. I want to go for ice cream. Like, and you're like frustrated because like,
you want information now. But I'm telling you, for me with my kids, it works at nighttime. Is when they start
saw that. Yeah,
when they start opening up. And hold on, I'm gonna tell you these other. There was one last one that I saw. It says, "What's one thing you wish you didn't have to worry about anymore?" Like, so obviously you're not going to go and bring out the phone and say, Jacob or Noah, or like, what's one thing? No, it's like in a conversation, you're like,
you can make it a game.
But I think if you make it a game, it might not be so like, so I think it has to be, if you've got multiple kids, it has to be separate, because they're all
write it down. Write it down in a paper. Like, let's make it a game, and then...
Or like in my, I guess depends who your kid is, right? You know your kid and how you're gonna get into like deeper conversation or not. But like in my case, it would be probably at nighttime as well. Like hopefully Jacob when he listens to these and he understands these conversations, he'll be old enough that he's opened up to me, you know. But in this case, it's like going to sleep, I'd be like, no, you know, so like, you know, you didn't have to worry, like something very nonchalant, so it doesn't seem like I'm trying to find out information.
Yeah, but this stage is so important, like where our kids are right now, because once they hit the teenage years and everything, like they're not going to be coming. I mean, hopefully they will. And I used to with my parents. That's how I grew up. I would tell them like everything and
everything.
Most of it. No, most of it. But I mean, but I want that relationship with Luna. I want her to feel that she can come to me for everything. Or most of it. But another thing that I was reading and actually have it in front of me is that, you know how if they do something, they hit their sibling or they do something stupid, the first thing you do is like, why did you do that? So I read this article that they were saying like that creates like shame. Sometimes when they say why you did that, like they don't even know the answers. And then you get upset and you scream and all they know is like she's screaming, she's this, and they're confused. So they were saying that it's better to ask them like instead of why, replace it with a what. Like, what were you thinking? Like having them like open up. What can we do about it? What will you do differently next time? What may happen to you if you do this again? Yeah. Instead of like putting them in a corner and being like, why?
Like a blame.
Like, why? Because they feel like this shame and they hear you screaming and it's like, why? I don't know. Yeah. Kids could do it out of curiosity to see so many
what
reasons.
Reaction.
Yeah. But the what, it's more like, okay, let's talk about it. I know it's easier said than done, but it's something like to try to, you know, for us to be better.
You know what happens to me in every sense of the way, and now like I kind of I realize, oh my God, I'm sorry guys, it went away. Like the thought process went away. What did you just say? What did you just say? This is happening to me, and this is gonna happen. I don't care. This does not have to be taken out. This is the age, guys. I promise you, when I was younger, this does not happen to me. Okay?
Has it happened that you're like in the middle of conversation
all the time
and you go like,
all the time, all the time. It's so bad. It's so bad. And at first I was like, I think I'm going through dementia. Something's going on with me.
I'm going to tell you.
No.
I'm not going to ask you why. I'm going to say what. What just happened to you?
What happened?
We were talking about the whys and the what. And the what?
It happened. No, I'm lost. Forget it. And it was important. And it went, boo. Like,
no, instead of like being upset at the kids and just screaming at them and having them like tell us why they did and testing our patience or just being curious, they jumped out of whatever because they wanted to see what it feels like. But instead of like being like why, being more like what. That's what I was saying.
And then my thought was, she's back. I think I'm back. Don't do that, because now I say that and subconsciously it goes away again. Like it just goes poof. It leaves. No, that we assume things. So like as adults, for instance, we get so like somebody hits somebody. Why did you do that? And we're thinking like, but that they did it because of a certain reason, or I don't know. But really, in actuality, like they're not even thinking what we were thinking. I don't know if that makes sense to you. Yeah. And I do this in everything. We're adults, so we have gone through things. So we think that they did something because of the way that we think, right? Like or what we've been through. But in actuality, they're still growing and they're still evolving and they're still testing, waters, and they're still, testing reactions, and they don't know if it's right or if it's wrong. And we forget that.
Yeah.
They may say something like, why did they say that? They said that because, oh my God, that doesn't sound right. And then when you really go look at it, they said it because they could have heard it from another friend. They don't even know what they're saying sometimes,
No, they put this example of like, we can do it. Let's say we heard a friend and the friend is like, why did you do that to me? And you're thinking like, I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't do it like thinking I'm going to hurt you. But if she asks, like, what were you thinking? And it's like, oh, my God, I wasn't thinking. I was thinking that it wouldn't hurt you.
Correct.
So they say, like, switch the whys with the whats.
Well, if it happens in us, like, we think, we're assuming. Because a lot of times we assume we know why somebody said or did something that they did for whatever reason. Imagine with the kids. Like, we can't assume. They're kids. They're still little.
Yeah.
And we forget that. We start thinking, like, we know the answer. Not every time do we know why people do or say what they, what they're thinking or whatever.
But yeah, we definitely have to be careful with the things that we say, especially again, like the age. Luna's 6, Noah's 5.
Yeah.
Jacob is
going to be 8.
Oh my gosh.
He's going to be 8 soon,
They're
very
going
soon.
so fast. So it's just, we got to be careful. And they're always going to remember like how we made them feel.
Yeah.
You know, and again, at this stage is the best one. And even, I mean, I've never been a parent of an older kid, of a teenager. I am an aunt, but they were not my direct responsibility. So I don't know how it works. But communication is key, because the older they get, I mean, usually when they later get married, they come back to the parents.
They
But
do.
though the teenage years, which are so important, like all the kids are doing so many things for the first time. I don't want to think about it right now, but you know what I mean. They're going through all these changes and they're getting ready, and then they go to college, so they go far. So the communication now, this is the time like to work on it and open those, you know, that connection and that those ways where they can come to you and tell you.
Well, I
you
think
know,
that speaks
anything.
volumes.
And,
When
yeah.
you see parents that have older kids in their 20s already that have left the nest, and they still to this day are continuing to contact their parents and see how they're doing and be there and this and that, it speaks volumes of how that parent parented. You know what I mean? And then you have things where you see the kids that they don't want anything to do with their parents now. Like
Yeah.
they're like in their 40s and their 30s, and they don't even call their parent to see if they're alive.
Yeah.
And you say, why? And I'm sure there's, you know, an ebb and flow of different situations, but it speaks volumes when your child, you know, is grown and they're still looking for you, and you might get them
Yeah.
bickering. Like, I'm 40 something. My mom is the world to me. As much as we bicker back and forth, and she gets on my nerves sometimes, and I'm like,
It's normal.
whatever, you know, this whole thing.
Yeah.
I adore her. She was always that community. Like, not that my dad wasn't, but my mom was the one that was mostly home with us, you know. So my mom was always the one that was like, you know, Nena, so how was school today? Oh yeah. And like, she would try to get in to like find that, and she was very emotionally in tune with me and my sister.
And you still do it, because
Yeah.
you had, remember the confusion when school started. You were like, you weren't sure what you were going to do. And the fact that I remember you saying like, oh, I was talking to my mom about it and she told me this and that.
Yeah, and I'm 40 something. I
Yeah.
still talk to
Yeah.
my mom about everything,
and
you know?
and when I was getting that job offer for like to go full time, that I wasn't sure if I wanted to go full time in that particular place and type of job. I spoke to Fabian about it and friends about it, and I always talk to my sister, but she was in Europe, so I'm like, oh my God, I can talk to her. But I remember my dad, he called me, and that conversation was like the last thing, the one that I was like, okay, this is my decision. And it was great, because, you know, I'm 47, but still, like, I need my parents' advice. Like, it's very important. And one thing, we have young kids in our 40s. One thing that I don't want Luna, like 10 years from now, 12 years, be like, oh my God, my mom is old. She's not going to understand. So another,
Yes,
like,
yes.
because it can happen. And, you know, it's different. Like from my niece, Kenya, she'll be 24 now, and Cash is going to be 3. So it's not that huge thing like 40s with a 6-year-old. So I also wanted her to know, like, hey, I'm young at heart.
Yeah.
You know, you can talk to me. And that's a challenge that I feel like we as older parents, because then they're going to be like, oh my God, my mom is like 60, 70. She doesn't know. Oh
Yeah,
my
she's
God.
not hip and happening. She's
hip.
not.
So no, we got to keep it hip.
We have to keep it. We have to keep it young. We have to keep it in like what's going on in the world, right? Because you sometimes like things are going on in the kids' world, and they start talking about something. You're like, what? What is that? Like, we really have to be in tune with what's going on in like the world right now with the youth, because otherwise we will be left out.
Yep.
And one day they'll be talking, and they're talking in secret codes, and you won't even know what the hell they're talking about, because we're so like, you know. And it's gonna happen,
That's
Darlene.
scary.
It's gonna happen. There's
Luna's going to be out of social media till she's 20.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, right.
You cross your fingers. I don't know what you're going to do for that, but you know, it's unfortunate. They're going to have so much information, so much things. And I think at the end of the day, it comes down to communication and being in tune. So if you're that parent that's like running around all day long, you really truly are like, you just cannot find the time sometimes to be there. And I get it. I understand. And y eso that I work from home, and I'm able to pick up my kids. There's people that cannot, that have to be out all day. They don't see their kids. Sometimes they're doing overnight shifts at the hospital. They don't see them till whatever, and they cannot be there all the time. So at least maybe you check in at least even twice a week, at night. Like you check in just to see what's going on. And
especially those parents that don't have much time. They're rushing in the morning. At night, it's all about bedtime. And then on the weekends, they have events. It's like try to find that space where you can be like, hey, let's talk. And if they're like, no, I don't want to talk, you can get upset at them because it's not on your timing. It's on their timing.
Yeah.
It's whenever they feel that they're comfortable, that they want to talk about something. But again, like listen to what they're saying. If you can listen to some conversations with their friends, sometimes I think that's important to do. And then check out their artwork and their schoolwork and their notebooks. If for older kids, like maybe what are they drawing?
What do they do
Stay
though?
tuned with their feelings and their needs.
But you know what? You and I would think that the bulk of the people that we know are around us and so on are parents that are typically like very involved with their kids. But there's people, and I wonder if we can bring in, this friend that I'm telling you about, like maybe for a second episode with professional advice. I wonder what happens when the parent's not emotionally mature themselves, because that happens. They had an upbringing that was different. Their parents never really talked to them. So why should I really talk to my kids? You know what I mean? And then these kids end up suffering in silence too, because their parent also suffered in silence for many years and never really worked on themselves. And they don't even believe in it. Because I've talked to people, they're like, emotionally what? That's like, I have, and I'm like, wow, there's so much deep layers to a person, and unfortunately some of these kids will end up feeling that, and they will end up being like that because they repeat those cycles. So I wonder, and this will be for the next episode, and if she listens to this episode, I hope we can get her on. I'm not going to say her name just in case we can't, but if we can get her on here and she can maybe say what happens there, And
I feel that the education system, I mean, maybe at least where Luna goes to school, they don't have this. I know that they have counselors later, but I feel that there should be every day, like part of the curriculum. And we've talked about this probably like 2 years ago. There should be a class which is more related to mental health. Like, let's talk about feelings. And obviously you do it according to age. But at this stage when they're little, like, let's talk about feelings and what things make you sad, what things make you happy. Yeah. Because and then, go over what they're saying. And suddenly you find a girl that's saying, I feel bad when, I don't even want to say it because it's horrible. Like something that could be happening in her house. Yeah. And I think that would do to society so good. Like having that avenue where kids, if they're not comfortable talking to the parents, to relatives, to siblings, that they have an outlet. They have an outlet to go talk to somebody that's in their school where they're spending every single day so much more time that they spend at home, having that there. And I don't know, because we used to have it like there's a counselor. If you need a counselor, she's there. But more so somebody like a class, an hour, like 30 minutes. Of this 30 minutes, it's mental health. Maybe you don't want to say mental health. You find whatever name you find, but that is more targeted to, having kids talk and express themselves when they might not feel comfortable. Then you have kids that probably don't go through bad things and they talk to the parents and they'll come and that's it. No pasó nada.
That would definitely help because
it would benefit those kids that don't have it.
And it would definitely benefit, like you said, in overall society, because with everything that we've been going through and everything that keeps evolving and all these kids that are 20 something that now do some really freakish things and crazy stuff. And you say, well, what happened there? Oh, he was such a good kid. I didn't see it. He comes from a very, all these things. Obviously they were suffering in silence. Obviously their mind was driving them crazy at some point, and nobody was really catching on because they said, oh, that's because he saw a cartoon the other day and he was just drawing those pictures because he saw the cartoon. Yeah, inside of his head, he's going freaking crazy, or her head, you know what I mean? So it's like those type of classes would definitely help in every sense of the way. Are we gonna, fix the whole entire world? No, you're gonna have your people that unfortunately are not well, but will you help a lot of people in the long run? Yeah, and it has to start now. It can't start when you're 50 because it's very hard to backtrack,
Yeah. I am. I know of two situations of two girls, one in kinder and the other one in pre-K that were, bullied. One in the bathroom by another girl, and we're talking about like 4 or 5 year old girls, and bully in the sense of like saying you're fat, you're this, you're that, at a very young age. And who knows what's happening in this girl's household,
That she's saying those things.
bringing it to another household, these thoughts to a girl that probably had never felt that before or that. And so this girl didn't say anything to the parent till like after the year was done, after the school year. So, but this is already thoughts that you have on this kid's, mind. Oh my gosh, she said this, and that. So that's another thing. If you have like a counselor at school, that this person that just heard that can go and say like, hey, this just happened. And then that person can go to the other kid and just monitor. It's about monitoring, these kids through the school system, because they spend more time there than they do at their house. And then when they come home, they have parents working, or they have a nanny, or they're doing homework, or the parents are busy with cooking, or so that attention I feel like should be given to the kids parallel.
Yeah.
The house and the school, for sure.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I mean, I'm sure there's schools that do offer some sort of it. The thing is, it's not in a curriculum.
Exactly.
So it should. If
so
it
the
wa-
kids probably are scared of going, or
Yeah. No, they're like, I'm not going to get up and say what happened. Like, if it was a part of a curriculum and it made everybody feel like it's like another subject, like math, it was just a normal everyday
write it down.
thing.
Write it down. Give it to the teacher. What are your
Maybe it's a
thoughts?
specials. Like when they do, like you do PE, maybe it's a specials that they do once a week,
Yeah.
and that would help to help them release, because even us as adults, all these pent up, like, feelings that you get sometimes, or thoughts that you get. And if you don't have an outlet, if you don't have that friend, if you don't have that mom or that dad or that husband or wife or whatever that you can confide in, imagine eating up and that thing is bothering you and it's in the back of your mind and it's eating
and you
up
don't
at
have
you.
anybody to talk to about
You
it.
know. So imagine a little kid that really doesn't know how to deal with their emotions. But anyways, we know something has to be done,
it could be combined, let's say, with art, depending on the year, on the age of the kid. You can combine like a little bit of mental health with art, because a lot of kids express themselves through art, be music or painting or drawings. Like, again, that drawing that I was telling you about, Luna, which is like that dad with the guitar and like the little book, like the song and all that stuff. And that way the teacher, the art teacher with the mental counselor can monitor, oh my God, wait, we're seeing this pattern with this kid. And I don't know, it could help a lot with society and with everything that's going on right now. So
absolutely. I think we should have a continuation of this.
Yep,
I'm telling you, we're gonna see if
with
we
a
could bring
professional. We're just venting here and talking, our thoughts, but
with somebody that can actually like give tips and tricks and what they recommend and what she's seen in her history of dealing with kids and all that have these, issues, real issues.
Exactly.
Anyways.
Yes. Well, thank you for tuning in. Another episode of Mama's Playground. Follow us on Instagram. Talk to us. Give us feedbacks. And take care of your kid. And remember, don't pressure them to talk to you if they're not ready. It could be at night. It could be in the morning. Maybe never. Maybe a drawing. But yeah. All right.
Anyways,
guys.
bye.
Bye.